them for a free estimate today, now offering 20% off your next outdoor project. Chesterfield Fence and Deck, chesterfieldfence.com. I'm Debbie Monterey, KMOX News.
This is the Gashouse Gang on 104.1 FM KMOX. Sponsored by Saliga Heating and Cooling, a Daikin comfort dealer. Now the Gashouse Gang on KMOX.
Well, it's good to be with you on a Wednesday, and with Chris Ranji, I'm Tom Ackerman. These are the days where we get to figure out what's coming this weekend, and what's coming is some college football, not to mention MLB postseason. I do want to ask you, Chris, before we get to Mike Kelly, the voice of the Tigers, and Brian Barnhart, the voice of the Illini. We'll talk to Brian at 12:15, Mike at 12:30, and I'm excited to talk to both. Brian's with us here and there on Sports on a Sunday Morning. Mike, the former host of Sports on a Sunday Morning, and, of course, the longtime voice of the Tigers. Man, he worked here back in the day. He's a KMOXer at heart, no doubt about it. So I love talking to him. But
I've heard a lot of Brian Barnhart. When I was at the Score, my first about 10 years, we were the voice of Illini football and basketball. So we heard a lot of Brian Barnhart.
Man, they've got some big games. It doesn't get much bigger than Alabama, and Missouri is taking on Alabama Saturday at 11. Except when you're Illinois and you play the number one team in the nation, Ohio State. That's bigger. And if they pull that upset, that's the upset of the year. But are they capable? Well, we'll talk to Brian about that on the way at 12:15, and then Mike at 12:30. Both games at the same time, Saturday at 11 a.m. Illini will be on Fox, and the Tigers will be on ABC.
You could probably get that split screen. So I use YouTube TV. That's my service. And I think you could pick the games you want. You have Illinois, Mizzou on the split screen.
Oh, I like that.
Let's go.
I like that. Or you could just go to a sports bar and just enjoy yourself.
That's even better.
Yeah. Support local.
I love supporting.
Go to your local dive bar and just
see the locals.
Have a couple pops and enjoy a Saturday afternoon of college football
until they ask you to leave.
That's right. Until they call you a ride home, folks. I do appreciate all the feedback about Chaim Bloom. I want to read one. Chris has already seen this. I sent this to him. But this is, let me see if I can find, I want to read it verbatim. This was a listener yesterday. I thought I'd pass it along because it was really nice of him to say. He said, I listen to the Gashouse Gang almost every day being retired. It is a very insightful program. The Ollie Marmol segments were always interesting and informative. But today's episode was the best ever with Chaim Bloom. The questions were all respectful and directly on point of what all diehard Cardinals fans were needing to hear. He is very impressive and knowledgeable, and I have the most confidence in the future now more than ever. Thank you for the show and Sports on a Sunday every week. You and your colleagues are incredible at KMOX. I appreciate that listenership. And we've had similar messages coming in. We can see them on X, on Twitter. People are saying, and some of the people who are, quite negative about John Mozeliak kind of have done a 180 here on Chaim Bloom. Mozeliak, there was some Mo fatigue. And while Mo was great for this station, he did a wonderful job. He's very loyal to us. His messaging fell on deaf ears towards the end. And I think people were ready to move on. I think he said it himself that he heard the noise loud and clear. He was ready for a break. Chaim was a breath of fresh air yesterday. He did answer our questions very thoughtfully. I think that he acknowledged the fans a couple of times in there about how they want, it's to your question about free agency. He said, I want that too, but we have to be smart about this. We cannot have any more shortcuts. This is about planning for the long term and doing this right.
And I agree with him, although I don't think it is always true that a premier expensive free agent is necessarily a shortcut. If you have assembled a team that is pretty darn good and you are missing a piece, and then that could be the piece that puts you over the top. And I used Bryce Harper as an example. And I don't know that Harper solves all of the Cardinals' problems. He doesn't solve a pitching problem in 2025. But since he signed that deal with Philadelphia, guy's got an OPS over 900. He is producing, and he produces every single year. And one of the things the Cardinals have missed this season, and a bit last year too, is that middle of the order presence. They had guys like Paul Goldschmidt and Nolan Arenado who had been on a decline for the last couple of seasons, so they weren't, that typical level of production we're used to from them, right? But if you had that guy in the lineup, that does change things a little bit. So, and also it does. I mean, we're talking about what gets people out to a ballpark. When you sign a guy like that, who is a superstar, he is a baseball superstar, people do buy tickets for those kinds of players. Number one, they buy them for winners, teams that win. That's the first. It's almost like it doesn't matter who's on the team as long as the team is winning. They don't care. But if you also have superstars on your team, they're going to come out and watch. And so I agree with him that you can't take shortcuts everywhere else. You can't buy an entire rotation. You can't buy an entire infield or outfield. But there's a player here and there that might be that piece that really puts you over the top. Everything else, you need to grow it. You need to trade for it. You need to find those diamonds in the rough. You need to do all those other things. You need to develop well. Clearly, you need to draft well. You need to have and spend at the minor league level with all the training equipment that we're talking about. And we've had a listener who has been asking or asked every day for about 3 months about the Traject Arc, which is that pitching machine that simulates who the pitcher is that you're going to face, and it's really high-tech stuff. So if you have equipment like that where you're training your young players, that's awesome for the organization and awesome for growth and development. You got to do all that stuff. My point has always been just don't remove any options from the table. So don't ever say, yeah, we're never going to sign a guy to 10-year contract. Never going to do that because it's 10 years and that's crazy. I don't think an organization should operate like that unless they do everything else so well that doesn't matter.
Well, I'm going to disagree just slightly here with you in that Bryce Harper is a bad example. Bryce Harper was a teenage freak who was a Washington National. Now, if you go find a superstar like that young, then you are talking about Bryce Harper, the Washington National, retaining him and making sure he doesn't go anywhere. Bryce Harper, the free agent who became a Philly, the Cardinals can talk all day behind the scenes about how they were looking at that. They're not getting him. I mean, they're not. Nor have they ever spent that kind of money for a superstar like that. Now, they were in the running for David Price once upon a time. They wanted Giancarlo Stanton. They have been said to be in some stuff, but we all know this to be true. They're not and never have been.
See, that's what I'm saying.
A team that's going to throw down. So, but I am not going to sit here and say that nothing has changed. I mean, you just brought in an outside guy whose specialty is building a minor league system, unlike and whose desire is not to be just like everybody else who's doing well. His desire is to have the number one farm system in baseball right here. So that is what's going on here. And then, yeah, of course, you can go sign free agents. You don't have to go get Bryce Harper in his prime. You go get, obviously, they need one or probably two pitchers to fill this rotation. And his specialty is finding the young studs who can stay controlled and who have more upside than maybe more value than other people see. He's got a good eye for that. And I think that you can add pieces once you find out what you need. Right now, they need to figure out who's going to stay on this roster. He is going to make some decisions here that maybe people don't love at first. I think he's going to trade a few people here and there to get the best value he possibly can. And he'll hang on to some that he thinks are going to stand the test of time. But this is a departure from Mozeliak. Anybody who thinks this is Mozeliak Light or Mozeliak Jr. is sorely mistaken. This is a different philosophy that I believe ownership has allowed him to do what he wants to do. And they have decided this is a new era and we're going to give him the money that he needs to do that. And then, yes, we'll have some money to go get that free agent.
Yeah. And I do think this is going to be a different way of doing things. And I know they don't sign the Harper types, but what I'm saying is, had they signed that deal, he's making $27.5 million next year. In 2026 terms, ain't that much money.
That looks pretty good now.
That's what I'm talking, because every time people hear the number they think, oh my God, that's $500 million over 10 years. Well, yeah, you're
Yeah.
saying that now, but 5 years from now, when he's making 27, that'll be about in line or even cheaper than a lot of players.
No, I hear you. And the
who get
only
the
other
1-year deal.
comp I can think of is like Juan Soto, who was that
Yeah,
young as a free agent.
Exactly.
And you're not going to get him either.
I don't want them to sign like 29 or
Yeah.
30-year-old free agents to 10-year deals.
Right.
You know, we're talking about guys who are in their primes, and he was, what, 25 when they signed him,
And
the Phillies?
And the other thing is what you talked about with Rob Raines. Really good interview, by the way, by you and him.
Okay, thanks.
I liked it. I heard it in the car. I was gone for a little bit and came back. Is that you got to be careful here with this possible work stoppage lockout.
Yeah.
I mean, this could be a problem. You don't want to pay a guy and he misses a full year. But anyway, that is Matt Pajeski's giving us the timeout. You know why? Because Matt Pajeski is ready to talk some college football, and so am I, and so is Chris.
Let's go.
We talk Illini with Brian Barnhart next. Let's just call it a Big Ten conversation coming up at 12:15. Then we shift to the SEC at 12:30 with Mike Kelly. It's the Gashouse Gang on KMOX on a Wednesday. Beautiful day in St. Louis. Back after this. Tom Ackerman for Busey Bank and Building Community, proudly recognizing the Community Action Agency of St. Louis County. Known as CASTLE, the agency is one of a network of community action agencies coming together to transition people out of poverty towards self-sufficiency. CASTLE serves 44,000 people in St. Louis County every year. Learn more about the Community Action Agency of St. Louis County at caastlc.org. That's caastlc.org.
This is Blake Trevunza, Commercial Relationship Manager at Busey. The Community Action Agency of St. Louis County, also known as CASTLE, helps people move from crisis to stability. With housing, food, health, legal aid, education, and more, CASTLE empowers families to break the cycle of poverty. Take action yourself and find out more about CASTLE, the Community Action Agency of St. Louis County. That's what building community is all about. Join Busey. Get involved as we continue building the communities we call home.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-6481. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-575-6481. That's 800-575-6481. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
Hey, this is Charles.
Weekend in Champaign, Illinois, as the Fighting Illini host #1 Ohio State Saturday at 11 a.m. Joining us is the voice of the Fighting Illini. Brian Barnhart is with us back on KMOX. What's up, Brian?
Hey, how are you, Tom? Good to be on again.
It's great to be with you, with Chris Ranji and our producers, Matt Pajeski and Frank Ladd, the Gashouse Gang. We are fired up about college football. What a great weekend it's going to be. And the #1 team rolls into town. Boy, they look good. I mean, they dominated Minnesota 42-3. But you know what, Brian? Illinois has looked good. They have bounced back after the loss to Indiana. They beat USC, and that was a solid win. And I really thought, Brian, that Purdue was a possible trap game for them, and they had to make sure they took care of business and didn't look too far ahead, and they did that too. They beat Barry Odom and crew in West Lafayette.
No, they really did, and you're exactly right. It was, I think it was the definition of a trap game, actually. I mean, the big win over USC after they bounced back from the Indiana game, the way they won that USC game, they probably could have won it by more, frankly. They fumbled a couple of times down around the 5-yard line. But it did come down to the kick, and they won it. And then you're right, with Ohio State looming coming up here on the 11th and playing at Purdue. And Purdue is just one of those games, and you know this with the rivalry games, you just never quite know. And for some reason, Purdue has been a thorn in Illinois' side. They'd won 7 of the last 10 and beat us over there a couple of years in a row in West Lafayette. First quarter was a little slow. Purdue grabbed the lead, but then Illinois took advantage of a fumble, went right down the field. Hank Beatty had a huge day. Luke Altmaier, the career high day for him, and things settled in, and they look like a team that's ranked in the top 25. So it's a good football team facing another really good football team on Saturday, and that's what got everybody excited again.
Yeah, #1 team in the country is coming into Champaign. This is supposed to be an orange out game, which will be a pretty cool visual. What has been, just from being in the building, how has the atmosphere changed for Illini football games in the last few years with Bielema at the helm?
Well, the students have been fantastic from the time Brett showed up. I mean, they really bought into what his vision was. And so that the students section, I think they had 11,000 for one of the games earlier this year, which is just really incredible for the student attendance. But that electricity has been there throughout the community. The the Citrus Bowl win over South Carolina, that carried over throughout pretty much the spring and into the summer, and the build up, and the season tickets were sold out, at a certain point. And so the electricity has been kind of growing. I think people realize and figured out that, Brett Bielema knows where he's going. He's very good at what he does, and we can get behind this team. And they around here, I've told this to many people before, and I think you guys know this. Illinois is known, I think, for a lot for its basketball. I mean, frankly, that's what people, look at when they think Illinois first. But the expectations on the basketball team are pretty demanding. You better win 20 games. You better be in the NCAA tournament or it's not a success. Football, they're a little more like, hey, just give me a good season. And when they're really good, as they are this year, the whole community just falls in love with them. And they're doing that pretty quickly with this team, and they really get on board. And it makes for a great atmosphere, and it's just become a home field advantage, which, frankly, for a lot of years, it really wasn't.
This is the first time, too, that Illinois has had a #1 team in their building since 2006, and it's the first time that they have been ranked themselves and hosted a #1 since 1950. So this is a pretty rare event for the Illini football program.
No, you're right, Chris. And it was 06 was the time you mentioned, and Ohio State was the #1 team at the time, and it was a fairly close game back then. But you're right, historic in that nature, that Illinois is in a position where they're ranked where they are, #1's coming to town. The other odd stat in all of this, guys, is that Illinois hasn't actually played Ohio State at all since 2017, and they haven't played Ohio State in Champaign since 2000. Let's see, what was it? 2015.
Yeah,
in Bill Cubitt's year, and so that's the last time they were even in town. And a lot of that has to do with the vagaries of the schedule, the East-West divisions, and everything else. Now, they were supposed to come here in 2020, and that game got canceled because of the pandemic. But But yeah, it's kind of odd that they're even here. It's been a long time. I talked to their play-by-play guy, Paul Keels, and he's like, I don't know when I'm ever going to get back to Champaign. Well, he finally does. So for this game Saturday.
I didn't realize that Illinois hadn't played him since 17. That escaped me. So that's interesting.
Yeah.
Wow. That's been a while. I love listening to Paul. I love listening to both of you guys. I love college football on the radio. I also love Don Fisher. And as you know, as an Indiana alum, you and I have talked about this a lot. I mean, that was a big one for Indiana. I mean, that game, the 63-10 game, they were trying to make a statement no matter who it was. It just happened to be Illinois there. But I saw a different Brett Bielema after that game. He was scratching his head like, I have never have been a part of anything like this. My question to you is, how did he gather himself and this team to come back the following week with all that attention and beat USC like they did? That was impressive.
Yeah, that was. And if you know Brett, and I know you've covered him and watched him, I mean, that's who he is. I mean, he's able to use whatever he needs to, and he's just very focused game to game. It wasn't like there was like a magic wand waved and they just suddenly played better. I mean, there's a reason they do the things they do the way he wants it done week to week, and the way they mentally prepare. And in this case, the Indiana game, it was kind of a combination where they had to watch it to kind of learn from it, but also try to flush it away at the same time and forget about it. And in the building, I thought he and his staff just did a tremendous job. And he even told me, though, he said, look, kids bounce back pretty quick. He was more worried about his staff, what they felt and, how they performed. And they all, to a man, took the blame for what happened at Indiana. But then, they moved on from it themselves. The young men bought in during the week and they were ready to go against USC. And that's a real tribute. That's what I talk about when I've known a lot of coaches and worked around a lot of them. And Brett's really the best I've ever seen. Game management, what he does week to week, how he handles himself and the media and the players, and it's just impressive what he does. I've described it as he's a professional college coach. He's really good at it, and so being able to, I wasn't surprised at all that they bounced back the way they did.
Since Josh Whitman has taken over as the athletic director at Illinois, it sure does seem from the outside like the programs, generally speaking, athletics have been on the incline. Would you agree with that? And what has he done to improve some of the bigger programs like basketball and football?
Yeah, well, I think he's been, aggressive in his hiring. Obviously he was aggressive when he first hired Lovie Smith, and that didn't work out as well, unfortunately. But he went, Brett Bielema was a name maybe that was kind of in the background when the job search began there in that last year under Lovie Smith after he was let go. And people like, oh, wow, I hadn't thought about Brett Bielema for a while. He had, been fired at Arkansas and in the SEC and went to work for Belichick in New England. And so Josh is able to kind of know what he's looking for. He's always, he's an extremely sharp guy. I think you guys know that. And, had been down at when he was hired from Wash U down there. People wondered, is he old enough? He was still pretty young, but he loves the university, but he has a really good instinct on things. And he went after Brad Underwood. Brad Underwood, was at Oklahoma State, hadn't been there very long, and he went and got him. Shauna Green, the women's coach, I don't know if she was on any fans' radar, but she was on Josh's radar, and he went, and she wasn't going to leave Dayton, but because of his ability to persuade her and his vision of what he wants at Illinois, she came, and now she's doing wonderful things with the women's program and soccer this year made a change with Janet Rayfield retiring, and now they're 10-2-1, or I think they've won double-digit soccer matches for the first time in about 7-8 years. So he just seems to know what he's looking for, what he wants in a coach, and how to get it done, and give them all the tools they need. And they, in turn, as you guys know, that's important for a coach of any sport, major sport, for the athletic director to feel they want to feel like the AD is in their corner, and he's giving them all the tools, facilities, whatever it is to succeed. And to a man or woman, they will all tell you the same thing, that Josh is just the perfect AD to work for. And it's a little different because he played football here. He's passionate about this place, and that comes through, I think, pretty strong.
I'm going to give you some quarterback stats here. 73.6% completion percentage. That is insane. 1,573 yards passing, 12 touchdowns, no interceptions. If I read that line, you would say that is a Heisman candidate right there playing in the Big Ten. That is Luke Altmaier. He is tremendous. Now, there's going to be a lot of hype around Julian Sayin on Saturday, the Ohio State quarterback. That young man can play, but Altmaier has put together a tremendous season. Obviously, Brian, if you're going to beat Ohio State, he has to play well, and you got to give him room to do what he does. Yeah, absolutely. He's the key. You've got a couple of things. You got to have him be on his game, which he has been now for the last couple of years. And also, protect him, obviously. And you got to keep the ball away, I would think, from Ohio State. Don't let them, have multiple possessions on turnovers or special teams breakdowns or whatever. So that's definitely a key. And you think about it, Tom, he's got, 12-0 this year. He had 22-6 last year, I think was the number. 22 touchdowns, 6 picks. And so going over 2 years, I can count on one hand the throws he's made where you kind of grimace like, ooh, he shouldn't have thrown that. Now, there's always a play where the ball gets deflected or something you can't help. But he's just been so efficient and so smart. And he and Barry Lunier, the offensive coordinator, are really in sync in their third year together. And, winning a game like this with Ohio State certainly would, I would think, nationally would be the thing that might put him on the map to be in that conversation if you're talking Heisman at some point. But, it's a game that could definitely help if Illinois wins it. And he needs to play well, but he's got to have his teammates help him out too. It's going to be a lot of fun to see this all go down on Saturday. It's an 11 a.m. kick. Brian, what time does your crew on the Illini Sports Network go on the air? We go on the air an hour before kickoff at 10 with Kerry Davis with us and our entire crew. So, yeah, we'll be in Grange Grove. I know Fox Noon Kickoff is back this week for the second time in 3 weeks on the TV side. And it's funny, guys, because they came in last time for the USC game, and they get here like on Tuesday, and they start setting up. Then they left, and for a while there, you could tell on the grass in Grange Grove was kind of wilted and different color than the green grass because you could tell where they had been set up with their stage and everything. So they shouldn't need any markers where to put their stuff because everything is where it was when they were here a couple of weeks ago. So it should be a pretty easy setup, I think. Appreciate the time very much. Have a great call on Saturday on what should be a beautiful day in Champaign. Have a wonderful game, and hope you pull off the shocker. Well, thanks, guys. Appreciate it. And good luck to the Hoosiers out there out west, too. So they've got a big one. That's going to be fun. Indiana at Oregon. Have a great one, Brian. Brian Barnhart, voice of the Illini on KMOX. Speaking of weather, Chris is going to have it in just a moment. The comments on there were funny. The Clippers fan guy who's changed his name like 15 times this year. I saw that he just got removed from the comments. He's got his numbers wrong. He's got his numbers right. Yeah, well, no, he's not very bright. Yeah, there's 400 viewers right now that I'm looking at. Yeah, I have the counter right in front of me. So, well, hey, people are listening to this thing. This is not the number one way people consume it. Yeah, no, believe me, it's this show is really picked up some steam, and we appreciate it. We're going to take a quick time out. When we come back, the voice of the Tigers, Mike Kelly. Oh, baby. Is with M-I-Z. Us on KMOX ZOU. Back in a moment.
This is Todd Krenz with Krenz Financial Group. For over 6 decades, we've helped St. Louis families and businesses plan with purpose and live with confidence. We work closely with professionals in healthcare, from doctors and nurses to medical sales in biotech and pharma. Our team helps you navigate complex financial decisions like retirement plans, disability insurance, consolidating old 401ks, and understanding stock options or RSUs. We make the process clear so you can focus on what you do best. Your goals, our mission. Start today at kfgadvisors.com. Securities offered through Raymond James Financial Services, member FINRA/SIPC. Financial Group is our broker-dealer.
Wake up informed. Wake up empowered. Wake up to Total Information AM, your morning must.
Hi, this is Debbie Monterey. I'm Megan Lynch.
This is Tom Ackerman.
From local news to breaking headlines to weather, traffic, and the stories that matter most, we've got you covered before your first sip of coffee. Expert analysis, bright perspectives from the people you trust. Total Information AM, your day starts here. Mornings beginning at 5 on 104.1 FM. KMOX. Now, KMOX weather from the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Desk.
Mostly sunny, 71 degrees in St. Louis. We're going to have a high today of 75. Oh, baby, it's nice out there. The weather brought to you by the Woodlands of Arnold Senior Living.
The Woodlands of Arnold campus offers skilled rehab, a beautiful assisted living community, and a secure memory care to keep your loved ones safe. Check us out at rspseniorliving.com. That's rspseniorliving.com.
IRS, they tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-6986. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have over 1,000 five-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-575-6986. That's 800-575-6986. Tax Relief Advocates, real solutions for real people.
Hey guys, Kevin Wheeler here, and I just wanted to let you know that FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook, is coming to Missouri. On December 1st, you'll finally be able to bet on all your favorite teams in all your favorite sports. And with FanDuel, there are just so many ways for you to get in on the action. And you can check it out at FanDuel.com/Missouri, where you can download the app. You can bet on everything from the money line to over-unders to which team's going to win it all on a futures bet. Plus, with live betting, you can pick which player is going to score the next touchdown or which player is going to hit the next home run and the one after that and the one after that and so on. And I've been with FanDuel since the very beginning. I've been using the FanDuel Sportsbook app for years when I've been in states that allow me to play, and it's a blast. It's super easy, just as easy to get your money out as it is to put your money in, by the way. So see for yourself why FanDuel is America's #1 sportsbook. Visit FanDuel.com/Missouri to download the app. FanDuel, play your game. 21 and older, present in Missouri. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Don't miss Mosby Building Arts Home Improvement Show, Saturdays from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. on KMOX. One of the last call-in shows where you can get live answers to your remodeling, design, and construction questions. Tune in Saturdays at 11 a.m.
Thursday night, the NFL is on KMOX. The Eagles, the Giants.
Saipan Cancer Center game time, 6:30. Saipan Cancer Center, national leaders in cancer.
The Eagles, the Giants on 104.1 FM KMOX.
Oh my gosh, is Saturday going to be fun in Columbia, Missouri as well. We just got off the phone with Brian Barnhart, the voice of the Illini, Ohio State, Illinois, and at the same time, it's going to be Mizzou and Alabama, an SEC clash, and joining us, the longtime voice and former KMOXer of the Missouri Tigers, Mike Kelly, is back on KMOX. Man, it's great to talk to you. How are you?
I'm well. How are you guys doing?
Doing great. This is exciting. It always is to have a sellout crowd at Mizzou, and they've had a great run of those. But, man, when the Crimson Tide come rolling into town, it just elevates everything, doesn't it, Mike? This should be a great weekend.
Yeah, well, you got a chance to do something you haven't done since 1975, and that is to beat Alabama. The last time that they did that was in 75, and so an 18th consecutive sellout will be on hand, and an opportunity for Eli Drinkwitz's team to make an early season statement in the SEC.
So playing against Alabama, and we talked about the Ohio State game that the Illini are going to play, and we know the atmosphere there is going to be nuts. What do you expect it to be like this Saturday in Columbia?
It's been really good, throughout the last several seasons, actually. And I anticipate it to be extremely enthusiastic. One of those things that people understand what's at stake. It's the first top 15 matchup at Furrow Field since 1979, when then number 5 Missouri lost to number 4 Texas 21-0. Chance to extend your winning streak. Missouri's won 8 consecutive games coming into the coming into the game. It's the second longest winning streak in program history. It's the second active longest streak in the country behind Ohio State. So, a variety of different things, 15 consecutive home wins. And so, and again, I think most importantly, guys, is that it's a chance for Missouri to finally kick in the door, if you will, with the longtime observers of the Southeastern Conference and finally say, hey, despite previous appearances in the SEC championship game, if you can bag Alabama, I think it finally proves to a lot of people that you belong among the conversation, or certainly in the conversation for the best teams in the conference.
Let's talk about this Missouri running game. What a tremendous running back Ahmad Hardy is, and the people blocking in front of him. But, Mike, what makes him so good? His ability to break tackles and break away.
It's his never stop mentality, the fact that the legs are continually moving, the fact that he's never gives up on a play, the yards after contact because of the great vision. He's 730 yards, which leads the country, but he also leads the nation with 551 yards after contact. He's forced 48 missed tackles through the first 5 games. And so those are just staggering numbers for a guy who's got 7 consecutive 100-yard games, and he's rushed for over 100 yards in 11 of his last 12. And so he's just a dynamic guy that's been able to take advantage of the transition, to Missouri coming from Louisiana Monroe, and the offensive line and really the offense that Missouri runs with that outside zone is tailored to what he does.
What has been, as you've watched Mizzou football this season, has there been something about this version, this 2025 team, that you did not expect to be happening, this deep into the season?
First of all, Bo Perbula's been really good, with the exception of the turnovers. He's had 4 in each of the last 4 games. Those are correctable mistakes, but his efficiency in the pass game, completing 75% of his passes on the season, completing 21 consecutive passes against UMass, that's been very impressive. And the reason why I say that I didn't know that was going to happen is because this is his first full season as a starter. And so you wonder, when a guy walks into that role or earns that role, how they respond. We'll learn a lot more coming up on Saturday against a really good Alabama defense. The ability for Eli Drinkwitz and his team and his coaches to go into the portal and get plug-and-play guys. It was Zion Young a year ago. It's Damon Wilson and Josiah Trotter this year, along with Kevin Coleman Jr., who, of course, played at St. Mary's there in St. Louis. But the way that they've been able to go into the portal and really use it as free agency, because that's what it is, and grab guys that are capable of stepping right in and playing, has been very impressive over the last couple of years.
Alabama is playing well. After their loss to Florida State, they are ascending, and you can see the quarterback play right now, Mike, by Ty Simpson, and what he's able to do. Accuracy, he can move. He's got great targets to hit. Ryan Williams is dynamic. Matchup, if you would, Mizzou's secondary or just defense in general against Kalen DeBoer's offensive attack, and what you see there.
Well, that's therein lies the issue, right? Can Missouri run the football? Can the Tigers control the time of possession and keep the ball away from that great Alabama offense? I mean, Ty Simpson against Georgia was 24 of 38 for 276 yards. Against Vanderbilt this weekend, he was very good after throwing a pick on the first possession. He went 23 of 31 the rest of the game for 340 yards and 2 touchdowns. I mean, he after, and talk about poise, after he throws the pick, he leads the Tide on scoring drives on 5 of their next 6 possessions. So the off-schedule plays that he makes are unbelievable. You get him outside the pocket, you think you've got an opportunity to get him down, and then he delivers a strike, particularly if you're in cover 2, to one of those dynamic receivers. And, the tight ends are also really good, in Cuevas and Edwards, the young freshman. That's going to be the challenge, is can Missouri play some man-to-man? Because I think if you sit back in zone, it's going to be a long day for Mizzou's defense. So can they play some man, and can they hold up in man coverage against one of the most talented receiving corps in the country?
And on the other side of the ball, one thing that Alabama has not, the coaching staff has not been particularly happy with the way they've started defensively the last few games, where they are giving up points early. They've buckled down at the end of games. Second half, they've made the adjustments they needed to. Clearly, it's going to be important for Mizzou to take advantage as early as they possibly can. But how do they do that? How can they take advantage of an Alabama defense that's sort of getting slow starts lately?
Well, I think you got to do what you do. You got to stay committed to what you're wanting to do, and what Kirby Moore likes to do is establish the run. And once he gets the run established, then being able to throw off of that and utilize his wide receivers in space. You probably see a lot of bootlegs with Bueller rolling out of the pocket, maybe delayed patterns to Brett Norfleet or Jordan Harris, the two tight ends. Those are, you got to be who you are, right? But you just have to execute at a level that requires total focus for the entire 60 minutes, and that's how you. The other thing too that comes into play, guys, is the great equalizer is always the turnover. Can Missouri come up with some takeaways on the defensive side? That's something that obviously would help the cause. But you're right. I mean, one of the things that Caden Womack, their defensive coordinator, talked about earlier this week was, we have got to play with a violent physicality, and it's got to start from the very first snap of the game. And that's something that he didn't feel like they did at Vanderbilt. So after that's been preached to Alabama's defenders this week, do you see that early on? I think the other thing too that can play huge dividends as you look at it is the crowd. I mean, it's going to be a sellout. It's going to be early. Hopefully the people are in the stadium early and are vocal, and because the one thing about those 11 a.m. games is that they tend to favor early on the road team, because a lot of times, quite frankly, the student section may get there, but they may not be quite as amped up as they were for a 2:30 game, maybe still recovering from Friday night. So, hopefully the Mizzou fans can get into the building early, and the students can lay off the sauce on Friday and make an impact on Saturday.
they got a pregame, man. It's a long pregame they need starting on Friday night.
I got to tell you guys, one of the, and I'm sorry to cut you off, I apologize, but one of the biggest things that I've seen, one of the biggest transitions over the last few years, is the involvement of the Mizzou student section in both football and basketball. And the job that they've done has been absolutely fantastic. And so, I'm amped. It's going to be a fun atmosphere, and a great barometer game for Missouri to see where they are.
That is the voice of Mike Kelly. And Mike, Saturday afternoons when you turn on the radio, it is so comforting to Mizzou fans. Myself, growing up a Missouri fan, my wife went to Mizzou. When we turn on the radio and we hear your voice, we're immediately transported to that stadium. Not everybody can go to these games. What is it like for you to be able to be that person that takes you into these games, and along with Howard Richards and of course your great crew, to be able to do that?
Tommy, you're so kind. I mean, really, that's so nice of you to say. Just a side note, when I started at KMOX in 1988, we couldn't make reference to the fact that we might have listened to a sporting event on another radio station.
That's right.
Mr. Highland would never stand for that, and you might get a phone call on the infamous red phone might ring if you made that statement on Sports Open Line or something like that. But I have been so lucky. Saturday will be my 389th consecutive game doing Missouri football. So starting in '94 and haven't missed a game since, and just have been very, very lucky and fortunate and blessed to be a part of it. And so it's neat to play a small role. That's the way I look at it. It's a blessing to play a small role on Saturdays.
You're the best, pal. Thanks for taking our call and being on the show today.
Anytime. Thanks for the kind words, and you guys have a blessed weekend.
Have a great weekend, you too, against Alabama.
Right, take care.
Mizzou and Alabama. Have a great one. The Gashouse Gang continues right after this. We're sponsored by Saliga Heating and Cooling, SaligaHeatingandCooling.com.
You know what, Tom? We are getting to that point of the year where, for us here in Missouri, we're going to be able to bet on sports, and we're going to be able to do it legally with our phones. And FanDuel is America's #1 sports book. And starting on December 1st in Missouri, it is live. You can bet on all those teams of yours and all the teams you hate and all the sports that you love, like college football, basketball, hockey, and tons of ways to get in on the action with FanDuel. Like betting each individual game, you can bet the money line or, a team total, whatever you're thinking, or you can bet the future. Who's going to be the MVP of the league or win the championship? And with live betting, you can even pick what player you think is going to score the next touchdown or the touchdown after that. Live betting is a lot of fun and very easy to do on FanDuel. You can download the app now by going to FanDuel.com/Missouri, and that will help you get familiar with it because we're less than 2 months away from you being able to use it for yourself live here in Missouri. See for yourself why FanDuel is America's #1 sportsbook. FanDuel, play your game. 21 and over and present in Missouri. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
With new treatments in the fight against Alzheimer's, now is the time for action. Join the St. Louis Walk to End Alzheimer's Saturday, October 25th at Chesterfield Amphitheater. Help us see a world without Alzheimer's. Register today, alz.org/walk.
Think back to the holiday season last year. You're surrounded by your family. It's been months since everyone has been together like this. Everyone is talking and catching up, sharing stories and laughing, and your grandson is real quick-witted. He cracks a joke and everyone seems to laugh, but you missed it. How does that make you feel? Do you start to disengage? Do you feel disconnected from the group? I'm Dr. Colleen Bosler, and I don't want this to happen to you this holiday season. Come visit Dr. Adam Voss and me at the Audiology Center for our Here for the Holidays event happening in the month of October. We're offering free hearing screenings, free earwax removals, free consultations, and a $500 coupon towards the latest hearing aids. Call us today to make an appointment for this special event through the month of October. 636-441-7470 or visit us online at theaudiologycenterstl.com.
Red Kingdom is back at FanDuel Sports Network Live in Ballpark Village. See every game on the largest screen in town. Don't forget about the $25 buckets, $5 cocktails, and the best tailgate food around. Grab your friends along with KMOX and huddle up for the games at the best watch party in town. If you can't make it, but don't want to miss it down, listen to the Chiefs on KMOX or KMOX on the Odyssey app. For more info, KMOX.com/events.
Life insurance. Why are you putting it off? Can't afford it? Too much hassle? Think you don't need it? There's lots of excuses for putting off life insurance. But if you weren't there, who would pay the mortgage and other bills? With Ethos, you could be covered in 10 minutes and boom, family protected. Ethos, fast and easy online term life insurance. Up to $2 million in coverage with no medical exam. Some policies as low as $1 a day. Answer a few health questions and get your free quote at ethos.com/radio. That's ethos.com/radio.
I'm Ed Evans, CEO of Consumer Cellular. Ever wonder why Big Wireless wants you on an unlimited plan? They probably want you to cover the cost of those 20-somethings using all that data every month. But most people 50 and up like me only use 12 gigs or less. Don't get bamboozled by Big Wireless. Switch to Consumer Cellular. Our plans start at just $20, and we use the same towers as the big guys. Join the millions who choose something better, because if you're not using all that data, you're probably getting used.
Call 1-888-FREEDOM, visit consumercellular.com/facts or a store near you. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing. See site for additional facts.
When you want a brand new kitchen, there's nothing to it. There's a brand new way to do it.
100% on time, 100% guaranteed, 100% wow. 3-Day Kitchen and Bath delivers all that, all in 3 days. Here's how it works. Create a kitchen idea, give them 3 days, and suddenly your kitchen becomes the centerpiece of your home. A place where everyone gathers no matter how much room you have in the house. Every project is 100% on time, 100% guaranteed, and 100% wow. Invest in your family and your home. Invest in a kitchen with 3-Day Kitchen and Bath. 3-Day Kitchen offers a 100% satisfaction guarantee and will complete the job to your liking, guaranteed. They're in and out of your home in 3 days or less with top quality products and a great crew. And they're finished on time with no delays. Get details now. Start at 3daykitchenandbath.com. That's the number 3, then daykitchen.com. 3-Day Kitchen and Bath.
3-Day Kitchen and Bath.
Now back to the Gashouse Gang, sponsored by Saliga Heating and Cooling on 104.1 FM KMOX.
That was fun talking college football with Brian Barnhart and Mike Kelly. Your FanDuel read there got me thinking about spreads coming up on Saturday. So where are we right now? Illinois is a 14-point dog at home against Ohio State. That's a lot of points. That's a lot. Ohio State's explosive. But 2 touchdowns. If it would stay right there at 14, I might be tempted to do that.
At Mizzou, what's still 3.5-point dog?
It is down to 3.
Oh, so they're a 3-point underdog at home. It is
down to 3. That thing opened at 3.5.
They could win that game, you know.
It opened at 4, and it's down to 3. So a little bit of money came in on Mizzou. If I'm not mistaken, that's where it opened. Indiana, number 7 in the country, at number 3. Oregon opened at 9.5. It is down to 7.5. Some money coming in on Indiana there. Oregon is just unbelievable, and they just do not lose at home. But as an Indiana fan, I've seen enough to know that Indiana at its best can give Oregon all they want. So we'll see. I mean, that's where College Game Day is going to be. That is fun. Other games of note: Oklahoma at Texas. Oklahoma is 5-0. They are a 1-point dog against Texas. Now it's at the Cotton Bowl, so it's not in Austin. It's that great rivalry. So that's a good one. Another one to watch: Georgia at Auburn. Georgia 3.5-point favorite at Auburn. Watch out for Auburn there. Georgia coming off what was a tough loss to Alabama, came back and beat Kentucky, but a Saturday night at Auburn, oh baby, that place can be rocking.
How nervous are you for Saturday? Your Hoosiers.
I feel pretty good about it, only because if they keep it close and they end up losing the game, it doesn't hurt them. If they win it, they almost lock up a playoff spot because their schedule is very favorable with a tough trip to Penn State. Although Penn State, as we've seen, has been a little bit exposed here and could be a little more beatable than we thought at the beginning of the year. Penn State's not even ranked at this point. They fell from 7th all the way out. So to answer your question, I'm very excited. And yes, I will be nervous at kickoff because I know what Oregon's capable of.
You going to puke?
No, I'm not.
I'm going to check on you.
Yeah. Oh, please do. Please do. Check in on me. I'll be at home. I'm just going to watch it. Looking forward to it all. Man, I love that college football. For Matt Pajeski, Chris Ranji, I'm Tom Ackerman. Thanks to Brian Barnhart and Mike Kelly and all of our guests. And thanks again to Chaim Bloom for joining us yesterday. If you want to watch that, it's up right now at KMOX.com.
Don't get lulled into believing the IRS is getting soft. It's just